Okay, so today we're going to be, I want to say today we're going to be doing some back tests, but I did some back tests earlier this weekend. I want to just do like a quick review. So this is gold XAUSD on the 1 hour time frame, and I'm back testing W patterns. Nothing else, just W patterns and W patterns only. So when I'm back testing W patterns, or how I take trace of W patterns on gold is from from bottom to top. I measure how wide the W pattern is, and then my expectation is usually twice that measurement. So since the full W pattern is about 9 points, I'll be expecting about 8 points in. So this is what my expectation would look like. I'll be targeting about 18 points, and my stop loss would also be about 18 points wide. If there's a long candlestick wick to the base, let's just assume that there's a long candlestick wick here. Then when I measure, I'll measure from the bottom of the long candlestick wick to the break-even point. But I won't measure past it. That is, if there's a long candlestick wick to the top, let's just say here, I won't measure the length of the candlestick wick to the top. I'll measure from the base here, its breaking point, which is about 14.5 points. And then I'll be targeting double of that. 14 times 2 is about 24 points. So that would be my expectation. And then my stop loss would be about as wide, similarly about as wide. So I've already done the back test. Each red square represents a W that fails. That W pattern appears. Price goes maybe like this, and then goes down and hits my stop loss. Each blue box represents a W that succeeded. That's to say price went up and hit my X2 take point. While each green square represents a region where price only went halfway. Price only went the halfway point, let's say something like this, before turning around and hitting my stop loss. This is relevant because, well, I think if accounting for that increases success rate, more or less. So measuring from the base here, you can see that this W is about 30 points wide. Price doesn't even get up to 30 points before reversing. So we can see that this W is actually a winner. Here, let's measure. At least which is a half point before enough. Similarly measuring. But the reason why I counted that as a loser is because of how much time. Measuring this W is about 5 points wide. So my expectation is about 10 points. So you can see that price satisfies that. this W is about 8 points wide. You can see that price doesn't get up to 8 points, which is the halfway point, before turning around and hitting my stop loss, which would have been placed about 8 points below. So you can see that this W would have been a losing W. Measuring from here, this W is about 16 points, about 15 points high. Measuring, you can see that the highest point that price gets is about 32 points high. So if you had left the trade running, this W would have actually won. Same with this one. Same with this one. This W is actually very well formed. Not only is this W very well formed, it also contains two bearish engulfing candlestick patterns, which are essentially, whenever I see a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern inside of a W, that increases my confidence in taking the trade. And when I see two, I said bearish, when I see bullish engulfing candlestick pattern, whenever I see two bullish engulfing candlestick patterns, I definitely take the trade. So this is 7 points. That's double of 7 points is 14 points. And price satisfies that. Here we actually have a double W. When two W's appear side by side, it should actually increase your confidence in taking the trade. It should improve your confidence that price will go bullish. It's about 15 points high, 30 points. Yeah. So when taking a trade off of the W pattern on gold, risk reward usually about 1:1. This is a fairly low risk reward ratio actually. Normally you should be trying to trade a pair that has a risk reward of at least 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. But the reason why I trade W's and just W's, despite the fact that the risk reward ratio is essentially 1:1, is that even though the risk reward ratio is 1:1, the success probability, that's to say total number of winning W's against total number of losing W's, is actually about, as you see, out of the total number of W's, total number of winning W's are 70%. That's based on my back test just now, before I started this video. Total number of W's, of winning W's, account for 70%. Total number of halfway point W's account for 15%, while the total number of losing W's account for another 15%, more or less. That means that if you were to take every single W that appeared on gold, if you are trading gold and you were to take every single W that appeared, there's a 70% chance that the trade will be a winner, and only a 30% chance that the trade will be a loser. And if you were to restrict your profit margin to only the 50% range, that success ratio actually increases from 70% to 85%. So even though the risk reward is about 1:1, if you were to win 80% of the trades that you take, that would still be an overall profitable trade. The disadvantage, however, is obviously minor profits and larger losses. So you have to be sensitive. May not work for everybody. So measuring this W, you can see this W is about, let's just say 14 points wide, and it goes as high as 20 points, but it doesn't get up to 24 points. Sorry, 28 points is double. It doesn't get as high as 28 points, and only goes as high as about 21 points, which is just a little over the halfway mark point. You have a winning W, and a winning W. Here we have some losers that don't go up. Price from the W but trailed down immediately, eventually hitting what would have been my stop loss range. Here we have a double W again, where a W pattern appears within another W pattern. Sorry, where a W pattern appears side by side with another W pattern. Of course, sometimes W patterns appear within W patterns, which also improves your confidence in trade. Okay, so after counting W's on H1 from 05 to 02, total number of winning W's are 81. Total number of half point W's is 16. And total number of losing W's are 17. So that's to say that out of 81 plus 33, which is about 110. That's about 110 individual trades. If you were to target the full double point of the W, you would win about 70% of the time. And if you were to only target half point, it would be 81 plus 16. So you would win. That's 97 out of about 110 individual iterations, which to me is a fairly high success rate. So that's it for this video.